What's up, world? Welcome to Cage Minds. I'm your host, Micah. We're talking about the Bellator 52 event this weekend. It's the heavyweight quarterfinals, heavyweight tournament. 7 of the 8 men are large. 3 of the 4 men are extremely determined. Towards the, twilights of their stage, they're like bloomers. All these guys, tremendous upsides, huge knockout power, a lot of first-round finishes. We'll get to that. We're going to get to the breakdowns. Let's do our picks. First fight is Hurricane Abe Wagner, who's 10-4, an Ultimate Fighter alum, taking on Eric, American Soldier Pringle, who's 7-1. Wagner has 9 of 10 victories in the first round. We know him from the Ultimate Fighter. He had losses against James McSweeney, against Marcus Jones, and against John Madsen, so not looking so great there. After the Ultimate Fighter, he loses to Travis Brown, lost to Aaron Rosa, has his last victory, which I really say to downplay because I saw the guy's record was like 7-12. So Wagner has a huge amount of skills, great stand-up ability, good submissions, 6 TKOs, 3 submissions, in a rough patch right now. American Soldier, his opponent Pringle, this man is huge and massive. Cuts down to make the 265 heavyweight weight limit, walks around about 320. 5 TKOs, a 5-fight winning streak, been stopped once by a north-south choke. Great boxing skills, a military boxing background, huge heavy hands, way stronger cutting down. He's just going to be the bigger, more powerful man, and I'm taking Pringle in this fight. Next one we have Bellagio Ivanov, who's 9-0, taking on Thiago Santos, who's 8-1. Bellagio, don't know too much about him. A Sambo competitor. Has had one no contest in his career because the cage actually fell in, collapsed, and broke. He's probably one of he's the smallest of our heavyweights at 5'11", about 245 pounds. I also think that gives him the best mobility and probably the biggest gas tank. A vicious striker in his own right, finishing guys off 4 times in the first round, has submission ability, seen him lose and beat Fedor in a Sambo match. His opponent, big monster Thiago Santos, 8-1. I couldn't find his one loss. I was able to find some footage of him fighting in Rio Heroes, a small cage, a wild, crazy competition without gloves. The man is intense. The man is large. A Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt. Loves to use the clinch, push against the cage, takedowns, ground and pound to the submission. As far as the stand-up goes, I think that Ivanov is going to have an advantage. I think he's going to be more technical, more crisp. He knows how to do the submission fighting. I think he's really going to impress us and have a victory to start off his career. As Santos, he's felt lost before. They're both going to be out of their element coming to America. This is the debut for each of them. But just Santos, his stand-up is just not as crisp, not ready for this kind of level of competition. Next fight we have, which in my personal opinion is probably the best of these heavyweight matchups. Sad to see this matchup come so early. Mike 300 Hayes, who has a 15-4-1 record, versus Neoga Grove, who's 11-3-1 record. Hayes, I've also found a record for him that's 12-3-1. I found several different records, but he's a very athletically built heavyweight on a 3-fight winning streak, 6 TKOs, 5 submissions. Has very good power in his punches. Grove, the same thing. 11 victories, 11 TKO finishes. Had 1 loss in the UFC where he lost by heel hook. Since then, his ground game has been improving. Both of these men have at times been under the tutelage Josh Barnett, so they should have some wrestling and submission experience. Again, big guys, big hits. Grove has the more shocking one-shot knockout power, has stopped all of his competitors in Bellator except for Cole Conrad. He seems to be a man on a mission, and I really think that mission will continue. I'm taking Neil Grove. Last fight of these quarterfinals is Mark Halada, who's 11-2, taking on Ron Sparks, the monster, who's 7-0. Halada, it was very hard to find footage on and get stuff about him. 8-fight winning streak, 3 TKOs, 4 submissions, 4 decisions. Saw him one time in Bellator versus Sean Jordan. Sean Jordan, who since that fight now fighting under the Strikeforce banner, looked spectacular in his last bout. So Halada's win even makes him look that much bigger. He probably has more weapons coming into this fight and has a good boxing base, a former college football player, very athletic. Sparks is a monster though. Been boxing and kickboxing most of his life. Competed in K1, lost by a head kick knockout. But in mixed martial arts, out of all the videos I found of him, never really seen him in trouble. He's big, he's strong, he's starting to learn the ground game, he's aggressive. He's one of these older fighters, and he feels that. He feels the couture in him, wanting to make the statement while he can, pushing while he can. I find that he'll be very motivated, and I think the monster will win. I'm going to take him. So we'll go over it real quick one more time about the winners, and I'll give the official prediction. I'm saying Eric Pringle in the first bout to win by a KO in the first round. Bellagio Ivanov, I'm taking in the second round with the TKO. I think Grove, TKO in the first round, as Hayes is hard to stop. And the last fight, I think that we're going to again see a first round knockout from Ron Sparks, as all of the men that are in these competitions, there's a lot of power and a lot of aggression coming out of this. Bellator 52, if you blink, you may miss it. It should be exciting. Can't wait to see what the next round looks like. In some other news, we're updating. We also did a show earlier this week for UFC Live on Versus 6. We have an update to that. An original fight was supposed to be Mike the Hulk Easton versus Jeff Hellbound Huglin. That's now off. Huglin is out. Mike Easton will take on Brian Bloodworth, who's 6-1, coming in on short notice. He's coming in on 5 days' notice. He has good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, a wrestler. I saw one spectacular flying knee KO on YouTube. Solidly progressing in his career. I really think he's a highly touted prospect. Will do some damage in the UFC. As far as this fight goes, Mike Easton, another very highly touted prospect. I've heard that he has solid stand-up, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt himself. The wrestling could play some way into this, but I just, on 5 days notice, I think Bloodworth's going to have a really hard time handling Easton, handling the whole UFC experience on this short notice. This much of a lack of a training camp. So I'm going to pick Mike Easton and win that fight now as the Huglin Easton fight's over. That was an update. This has been Cage Minds. Thanks for watching. Be sure to follow us on Twitter on Saturday when the fights are going on. Watch the videos, like them. Thanks for watching. Bye.